This is a great time to go back and play some old games. If you're heading into this autumn and you're feeling a little burned out, there's nothing that is very exciting or coming out at the moment that you're super interested in, it's a really good time to go back and pick up an old console. Maybe you have one sitting in the closet, maybe you don't. Certain consoles are shockingly affordable on Marketplace and on eBay. I bring all this up because over the weekend I was capturing footage of the PlayStation 3. I'm working on some older console videos. I've held on to most of my consoles. I've held on to most of my physical games over the years because, well, I want to replay them or I want to, finish them at some point down the road. And I was just blown away how fun it was booting up the PS3, checking out Mass Effect, looking at my old save file for Skyrim. I had a good buddy who ended up with Skyrim in his disc tray on the PS3. I let him borrow it and he traded the system in with it there. So I bought off of eBay for $8 another copy of Skyrim just so I could see my original save file, the character that I started with, my main Skyrim playthrough. Sure enough, 55 hours of playtime and a ton of memories. And it was really cool. There's a whole new generation of players who are discovering these older consoles for the very first time. I see a ton of videos from Gen Z basically saying these old consoles have cured all of my disappointment with modern gaming. And it's funny, I want to comment on that because I do think if you take the time and you go back to a previous era, 360, PlayStation 2, Nintendo Wii, or the 64, or anything really that perks your fancy, you will find things that are missing today. You will find a raw sense of fun and joy that a lot of games just don't prioritize because, well, just today, EA sold for what, 55 billion? Games as a whole, as an industry at the top level, has become such a money-making platform that you've got huge capital, big investors, and a lot of the financial people. This is a big part. This is a big thing now. And there's so much baggage that then trickles down to the publishers and then the developers. So it's not the same game. It's not the same universe that it was back in the 90s and the 2000s. And you can see that a lot in the game design. On the counterpoint, there's a lot of junk that released back then. A lot of junk. It's easy to remember how great the past was if you're only looking at the good games, if you're only looking back with the hindsight, the 2020. And I would argue that there are a lot of cool things still coming out, but make no mistake, there are rough edges if you're going to go back to the past. But old consoles right now are shockingly affordable. PlayStation 2 and a stack of good games is going to cost you less than one Switch 2 game. And that's where this motivation comes in. It is really disappointing seeing price increases on consoles this late into their lifespan. It's just strange. It's an odd thing. And then the talk about game pricing, we could go in circles with. I get it. Priced for inflation and all these things. Well, games are monetized differently now. When you buy a complete game, it's not always complete. And they're asking for DLC and microtransactions and all of these other things. So we can spin in circles with it. But if you are a little bored right now, if you're not feeling things, I can tell you, get a PlayStation 3 right now. You can pick one up, a Slim, for about $70, maybe about $60, right? If you look closely, they are cheaper if they're really beaten up. You can pick up almost all the PS3 library for about $10 to $20, or most of the games are $10 to $20, not the entire library. And you have a ton of fun that is just waiting for you to discover. There's something really wonderful about getting a box that's got a manual, that's got great box art. You throw the disc in the tray, there's no install time. It just gets you into the fun. No updates, no noise, just pure play. And I'm telling you, I could stop buying games right now and be set for the rest of my life. I probably have about, looking in the closet, 10, maybe 20 games per system if it's a really big system. My PlayStation 3, there's 10 games right here. Not a ton. But they're the kind of games that I could play the rest of my life. I was a little shocked going back to Mass Effect 2 and 3 and pulling those save files up and just running around. The performance, we put up with a lot. It is amazing how different our tolerance for performance was. Back in the day, I didn't care. I just was like, wow, this looks amazing. How cool that I'm playing this on my TV. These days, I'm like, that is chunky. That's 14 FPS right there. What are you doing, Shepard? The bigger point here is I really don't think there's a reason to be bored with the hobby ever. If you're like burned out and you need a break, definitely take a break. But you could get a PS2 or a 360 and have a wonderful time while you're waiting in between those bigger, more new, modern releases. The last new game I picked up was a year ago, right now, basically. Echoes of Wisdom. And we know Nintendo, they never discount their games. And so I'm very particular about buying a new release. I gotta be crazy hyped to get it right at the time of launch. At this point, you benefit a lot by waiting. And if you're down to kind of wait for those seasonal sales, but you still need something in between, great games don't expire. And just immerse yourself in some of those older ecosystems, those consoles, the feelings, all of that stuff, especially if you were there at the time, they can bring a huge wave of emotion coming back to you. You know, looking at Uncharted 2, I think back to Christmas 2011 when I got the PlayStation 3. I couldn't get one at launch. They were $600. They dropped it to $300 in 2009 with the Slim, and then I saved up and asked for some money for Christmas. And I just will always remember sitting downstairs, hanging out with the family, playing Uncharted 2, and commenting probably really annoyingly to everybody around me, like, look at these graphics, this is insane. It's absolutely amazing. You could rewind the clock even further. That same console plays PlayStation 1 games. And I have my disc copy, Final Fantasy VII, right here. One of my favorite games of all time. I didn't actually beat this game until I was done with college. It was the summer that I was out of college that I finally completed it for the first time. And it was amazing. And it was so cool, and it's a disc that I've held on to for a long time. I guess I'm saying there's probably going to be nostalgia for the time period right now. Maybe you're a PS5 or a Series X or a PC player, and maybe there's like a new release. I'll bring up the example, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm playing through right now. I'm near the end of it. I'm probably going to look back in about 5 to 10 years, be like, man, I'm really glad that I have that game. I'm going to play through that again. That was a really great time. Fun games are timeless. There's no reason to be bored. And I just think we're living in a pretty awesome moment where hopefully, this is the I guess the dark side of it. Hopefully these consoles can still stay affordable enough that people can pick them up. The 3DS has benefited from so much hype on YouTube that the prices now are pretty crazy. A lot more than when I bought my used 2DS back in 2017. So, double-edged sword promoting this stuff. I think PS2 and PS3 are always going to do pretty decently there. Anyway, random thoughts. I know, maybe this was a dumb commentary. You can let me know down in the comments below. Are you playing any older systems? Wii, DS, 360, whatever it may be? And if so, why? Why are you playing it? What emotion or joy or feeling does it give you? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you again very soon.